Good morning. It's a Thursday, the day of Thor, day of thunder. Drake's bringing the thunder from the Bible today. It's July 9th, 2020. Hey, are we going on a trip? Is it imaginary?
Yeah.
Is it real? You'll find out today on Take a Break with Drake, America's Bible teacher at 7 a.m. every weekday, Dr. Drake Travis.
And we are walking around Galilee today. I forgot to tell you that title before, hon. Good morning, Aaron. We're walking around Galilee. So that's...
I can put that up there.
A little bar for that would be great. Well, hallelujah, there it is. So, yeah, good deal. That's this legendary...
Boy, this is going to get cluttered real fast here.
Oh, well,
but you can keep it like right around there. We'll put it maybe right down under there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
That'll be good.
Good morning, yes. Mike Yates.
Mike Yates, alive and well. Dude, locked and loaded. We're locked and loaded here, Mikey.
With the Bible. With Bible knowledge.
It was Eric.
Good morning, Eric and Angela Dean.
Yeah. I was in junior high, and our junior high PE teacher was Mr. Webster. And a fantastic PE teacher, by the way. And it was so gratifying to come back 10 years later after I just got back from Israel, finishing college out there at Jerusalem University College, as it's called now, and showing my photos of Galilee to my junior high PE teacher, Mr. Webster. He was really good. I was a bit of a squirrel when I was 12 or 13. I know that's hard to believe.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. And so I got on his nerves. I didn't mean to. We went to church together, but I got on his nerves. I didn't mean to, but I just did. And when I came back and showed him my photos of Galilee on a big wall, they're projected onto a wall, he just sat there and said, "Wow, that's where wow." And I walked him around Galilee like I'm going to do to you, and starting in 1 minute. He just sat there and said, "Wow." I thought, boy, this is a big change over Drake. 10 years prior. Mm-hmm. It was it was awesome. It was certainly a high moment in showing Galilee to my junior high teacher. 10 years after I got it, was not in junior high, but if we can put up the map, dear. Mm-hmm. There we go. What we're going to do is we're going to start at the bottom. Just to see Mount Tabor, right under the big word Galilee, right under Mount Tabor. That's where the Transfiguration took place. And you can see the dot under the A of Galilee where Nazareth is. Nazareth to Galilee is about 15 miles to drive it. It's slightly different, but it's about 15 miles away. And see Nain, N-A-I-N. Mm-hmm. That is where Jesus healed the boy at the funeral. A woman is burying her only son, and that's called End of the Road, and she's a widow, and your husband's gone, your only son is now gone, a lady in despair. Jesus touched the coffin and the boy got up. Don't think that didn't start a party. Yeah, Jesus does stuff like that. But coming up into Galilee, we're going to start at the bottom, and we're going to talk in reference to a clock. As you can see, Gennesaret is at what we would call 9 o'clock. Bethsaida is at 12 o'clock. The river runs out and resumes the Jordan River at 6 o'clock. And one thing that people don't know about Galilee is 795 feet below sea level. So... whatever that has to do with your biblical understanding of the power of Christ, I don't know, but it is quite below sea level. So we start out with in Tiberias. You see the red dot where we would say 8 o'clock, and the red line going down to Tiberias. This is a town that is named after this from Luke 3.
Hey, good morning, Christopher Knox.
Christopher Knox, my goodness, Saint Christopher. In the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, when Pontius Pilate was governor of Judea, Herod, tetrarch of Galilee, his brother Philip, tetrarch of Iturea and Trachonitis.
Sounds like an illness.
Yeah, you can see some of those. Yeah, these are ingredients on the back of a bottle of NyQuil, by the way.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Lysanias, tetrarch of Abilene, which is also in Texas.
Yeah.
But in the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius. So Tiberius came into power when Jesus is 15 years old. And the traditions say that he was traveling with he was traveling with Arimathea. Now, Joseph was the name of his father, and he died somewhere. And because when Jesus is in ministry, we catch no word of Joseph anywhere. We just see Mary following him around, and she's 70 miles from home. And men kind of need their wives with them. And so you have to assume that Joseph, his father, is gone by now. But Joseph of Arimathea was also Mary's brother. So think of that. When he's anointing Jesus for burial, this is Jesus' uncle, Arimathea. And they say that he traveled with Arimathea during his teen years, and they say he went up into Europe. There are pre-Christian Christian symbols in Britain that happened right around the year 0.
Wild man.
How did that happen?
This is all not in by the Bible, but man,
it's not Galilee, but it does pertain here.
Okay.
So when
All
Jesus is about 15 years old, and let's say he's traveling with his uncle Joseph of Arimathea.
Hey, Tuan Nguyen.
Tuan Nguyen, Jua Bang Vuk. Tiberius is just named Caesar. 15 years later, John the Baptist is preparing the way for him in Luke 3, as it says. And by the way, Luke is a historian par excellence. There is not a historian that is more accurate or authentic or rich or real or with it than Luke. In the world, there isn't a better historian than Luke. There are people that are just as good as Luke, but nobody's better than Luke. So it's about 1914 AD. Well, we've got the 4-year difference because it was...
Because of the Gregorian calendar versus whatever the calendar was before.
That got corrected. Mm-hmm. But Tiberias is a city...
Aha, here's the point, everybody. Tiberias.
Bingo. Tiberias is the city on the southwest straightaway there of Galilee.
Is it kind of like where the E is on Galilee, Drake? The big word Galilee?
Yeah, on the second E, and that's Tiberias. And that's quite a city today, and they have just awesome hotels. We were there not 5 months ago, but winter 2019, and they're just building beautiful things there, and it's not like we're camping in the wilderness when you're staying in Tiberias. It's a town that is not even mentioned in the Bible. The man that it's named after is mentioned in Luke 3:1, but Jesus never went there. We have no record of Jesus going there. Why is that? Well, what is happening is Tiberias was built, right before this time. It's a rather new town, and it's made to honor Caesar, Tiberius, thus the name. Herod was determined to honor Caesar because he really wanted to be good with the Herods, in with the Caesars. But it was built right on top of a Jewish cemetery.
Ew, creepy.
Jews don't do that. They bury the people over here and they live over here.
Which typically that makes sense, right?
You don't build right on top of a graveyard. We're going to end with talking about being on top of a graveyard today, by the way.
Ooh,
when we get around to Gadara on the far right side in Gergesa. But here's a town that's built on top of a graveyard. The Jews told the Romans, don't build it at Romans with swords and armies and power and jurisdiction to kill. When they want to build something somewhere, they just do it, and they don't care what the locals want to do. So it's rather desecration to live on top of a graveyard, to work and market and live into. So Jesus never went there. It's very interesting. But cruising on around
So
the sea. So we'll go
so you're
to
talking about Tiberias. So we started in the bottom. We started basically at 7:00.
Yeah. Now, if you went to the second E on Galilee there,
The big word Galilee.
on the big word Galilee, there's the second E in Galilee. We're going to go on ground level right there, and we're on a cliff called Arbel.
All right. Now I'm going to change from the map to Arbel.
Yeah. So
Okay, here we are, Galilee.
this is on top of the cliff of Arbel. Now, see the farthest left point? That's Galilee, and we're about 1,100 feet above the water there. So we're at about 400 feet elevation, and we're on top of Arbel, looking down at the left slice of Galilee. That farthest left point is Gennesaret. Right below it is Migdala or Migdal, and you probably
I can pull up that map and maybe move it over a little bit so you can see exactly what Drake's talking
Okay.
about. I don't know, maybe this is too much. We
Oh,
got
that's
stuff all
okay.
over the place.
That's okay. I'll just stay right here in the middle.
We got stuff everywhere here.
Yeah.
So, but right, you're talking about Migdal. You can see Migdal, and
You
in the
can
far.
see Migdal, the white smattering of towns along with it. Now, Migdal is, the town has been fully unearthed in this last 35 years. Fascinating place to go. And they commemorate Mary the Magdalene, the woman who touched the hem of his garment and was healed. That is here also. And
Really?
there is a mural at Migdal today that commemorates that incident.
Oh yeah,
And-
that's right. We were there, and they just had that in 2019.
Oh, I remember going up to that mural. I was so tired that day that I just kind of got down on the floor at the face.
You took a nap.
At the base of this mural, and I fell asleep. But the mural is so haunting about what happens when you touch Jesus. You just look at this mural and you groan, and it has its proper effect on you. You look at that mural and you say, "Oh my goodness, I want to touch Jesus too." Oh my heavens! So it's Magdala, Magdala, Magdala.com. I think I wrote that in my notes. Yeah, Magdala .org. Magdala.org is a website that talks about this whole area and commemorating these events, touching his garment. And it's amazing. An entire town, an entire industry goes up about an incident that happened 1990 years ago. It's just fascinating. And you can go, Kaio, good to see you.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have something very nice to say, so we'll let it go
Oh, okay.
from Periscope.
Oh, well. Kaio, it's good to see you, buddy. So, but so you can go there. They have guest houses. It's beautiful. There's a chapel. There's services going on. It's really something else. But it's mentioned in the word comes up in the King James version only. Now, what happens is King James is 1600s, and then the excavations of all and finding this town has all happened after the 1600s. So the town is mentioned by name in other versions, but not in the King James. So for whatever it's worth. And it says in Matthew 15:39, Jesus came to the coast of Migdala. And it says he climbed a mountain. But if you went farther west from here, you climb up a hill a bit, and that's where Jesus went. So it's pretty touching. Scooting right along and going on around the lake, you come to Gennesaret.
Are you showing any of these other Arbel photos, Drake? Like,
Oh yeah.
oh,
So-
here, you got a few others there.
Yeah. So when we're on that cliff at the big E of Galilee, this photo right there is looking straight west, and behind my head in that mountain range, on the top of that, you can see the Mediterranean. Quite easy. You can almost see clear up to Turkey, and you can almost see clear down to Egypt from that one spot, that mountain above my head there. But that's looking straight west from the cliff of Arbel. Go ahead. and whatever's next. And that's looking straight
Whoops.
north.
Oh, I'm having a hard. There we are.
That's looking straight north. And Serena's filming me doing something.
I wonder where that video is. I've got to find that. That's
who
from
knows?
2013.
Yeah, but right left of Serena's hip is Gennesaret, that point. And I'm just explaining that. And looking north, it's kind of hazy. North is toward Lebanon. Northeast is towards Syria. But this is where Jesus walked all around. And we're going to continue on along. On Gennesaret, that one reference to there.
I don't know. There's one more.
Yeah, no, that's on Arbel, looking straight across toward Gergesa.
Okay, and next.
So, but going on down, we zoomed right around.
Well, we don't have anything from that other town as far as I know.
And so for Gennesaret, it says that they came down. It's in Luke 5:1. Matthew and Mark and Luke all mentioned this same passage here. And Gennesaret is mentioned 3 times in the New Testament. It says, and Jesus landed here, and they were crowding around him and listening to him speak in Gennesaret. That's the single reference to it. But Jesus walked through. He walked all through this area, and he did for well over a year. So, but there's so much activity that happens here on the west bank of Galilee, and you can just feel it when you're there. I mean, there's
a hubbub of activity for sure.
Hubbub. And when Jesus has been someplace, the place changes. The place changes, and the people in the place make decisions about Jesus, and that changes the destiny of a town forever. Are you going to receive him? Are you going to let him touch your life? Are you going to hear? Are you going to learn? Are you going to change to how he wants you to live? Or are you going to say, whatever? Going right around the lake, we're up at Capernaum. This would be about 10:30 on the lake, 10:30, just below 11 o'clock.
If it was a clock,
If the lake was a clock. So 16 references to Capernaum, and people always say Capernaum. There's no E in there. Don't say Capernaum.
Oh, all right. Capernaum.
Yeah, and they say Capharnaum.
Capharnaum.
But it comes out in English letters, and we say it however we feel like saying it.
Yeah.
But in Capernaum, Jesus, it says Jesus came there, and Matthew 4:13 says, and Jesus lived there. Peter's home is still there. I'm going to show you that. But it says Jesus lived here. He dropped anchor and set up shop here. Wow, dude. This is the synagogue that Jesus taught in. You saw the gate to the city.
Now, this is a photo from 1985.
That's a photo from 1985. Even more restoration has been done. I took that photo when I was a senior, finishing college. And this is a synagogue.
Oops, sorry. I thought you were done.
Built right on top of a toppled synagogue. And this one's about from 300, 400 AD. So they do the best as they can to make it look like it did in Jesus' day. And they keep doing that. But this is Capernaum, called the town of Jesus. Peter was here. And Jesus, it says he resided there. And, when someone's a local, it's easy to go, he just lives right here, big deal. The people that live next door to somebody who we all see on TV or something, the neighbors go, he's my neighbor. He mows his lawn. I mow mine, So after a while, we kind of just shrugged about Jesus. And Gennesaret, Capernaum is the town where he said, woe to you, Capernaum. Woe to you, Bethsaida. See these towns on the north end?
Yeah.
Woe to you, Chorazin. Some people spell it Korazin, but in the Bible it's spelled Chorazin. It looks like Chorazin.
Yeah, they didn't do their chores.
Yeah, it's pronounced Chorazin. Woe to you if the miracles were done in you, and I did them in Sodom. Sodom would still be a town today and would not have been ashed thousands of years prior. And so these towns, they do what they can to have Capernaum be a livable, well, visitable place. There's facilities there, there's stores there. You can get a hot dog on the north end of Galilee, but it's not really a residence. Bethsaida, nobody lives there. Chorazin, nobody lives there.
Empty.
Yeah, and Jesus made a pronouncement. I've lost my ears here.
Well, you're fine. You don't have to put them on.
Oh, okay.
You mean unless you want to hear?
Well, I can hear.
You won't be able to hear me.
I can hear. Yeah.
Now you can hear me.
So Jesus made a pronouncement about these towns, and they lay desolate. After AD 70, and the Romans came through, and they've been desolate ever since. And someone in the 1960s said, "Hey, let's rebuild this." They're making Capernaum inhabitable to visit, and they wanted to do that and put, condominiums or something in Bethsaida and Chorazin. Hey, Jesus was here. Let's do a famous. So they started construction, and the first day of construction, somebody died violently.
Goodness
On the
gracious.
And they said, well, hey, I'm going to stop. When somebody dies, you don't just go, well, plow them over. They did their honoring of the deceased, and they came back the second day. Second day, somebody died. And they thought,
That is no
good
bueno.
heavens, what's the deal?
Good grief.
I said, well, guys, listen, let's clean this up and let's get this down. But third day, somebody died on the job site.
Yeah, I think maybe they got the memo by then. What do you think?
They got the memo come day 3, and someone pulled up. These are Jewish people. They don't really get a bang out of the New Testament or Jesus talking, though he was one of them. And they looked through the New Testament and they said, Jesus said, woe to you, Bethsaida, woe to you, Chorazin. We're trying to rebuild this area. I don't think we're going to, and fear came over the whole world. They abandoned it. They abandoned it over 50 years ago, and nobody's touched it or tried to build.
Yeah, wow.
One day, if I heard it right, a caterpillar, they dropped the big old blade on the front and pushed dirt. A caterpillar flipped and smashed the driver. I was like, the hell? Yeah. So
That is rough.
if Jesus says woe to you,
Yeah, I mean, look at what he said to that fig tree.
yeah.
The fig tree's like, you're not making fruit, you will never make fruit again. I mean,
yeah.
there's
And say, well, God, Jesus is really mean. Well, he said woe to you because you could say to Bethsaida and said, you guys looked at Jesus and you said no to you. So Jesus comes back and says, well, woe to you. When he heals the blind man, where he touches his eyes and he says, what do you see? Oh, I see trees walking around. Well, like Lord of the Rings? He didn't ask him that. But the trees are walking late in the Lord of the Rings movie. And he says, I see trees walking. Well, let's touch your eyes again. He touches him and then he can see normally. And he wants to run into town and show everybody in Bethsaida. And Jesus says, no, don't go in there. Mm-hmm. I came there to heal them, and they told me no. So I'm telling you no. Don't go. See, he can do good things if you just no. They've already told him no.
Yeah.
It's so dangerous.
Yeah.
To tell Jesus no. I am always sharing my Savior, and I blessed someone once. I forget the exact setting, but I remember the interaction. He said, why are you so kind? I says, I do what Jesus tells me to do. He's going to make you an offer. I don't know when, but he invites you to come to him and be with him so that in eternity you can be with him. And in Golden City, when he reaches out to you, don't slap his hand. I don't know when.
Oh, you're so serious, Drake.
I don't know when he arrived, but I led him to Christ. When he arrived, I don't know. But that, I saw his eyes and he thought, wow. I said, when Jesus makes you an offer to come to him, which he's doing now, don't slap his hand. That was Capernaum. Right there, in Galilee, cruising along around
Well,
the
hey
lake.
Drake, there's a couple other things in Capernaum. We were talking about.
Yeah, this is Tabgha. Now, that word is not in the New Testament, but that is on the north end. See if it's marked.
Let me go back
It's right near the Mount of Beatitudes, which we'll get to next. But walking around north from Capernaum, you come to Tabgha, Tabgha. That is the local word of the area where Jesus fed the 5,000. He's fed the 4,000 at another time, and I think John makes the most of that, or I'm not sure. But he fed the 5,000 here, and see the 5 loaves on that stanchion, and the 2 fish.
They're hard as rocks now.
Yeah. When you
Those leftovers turned into rocks.
when you wouldn't eat your dinner, your mother says, "Don't sit there till it becomes
hard. Keep
till
chewing.
it becomes petrified."
Yes.
So
anyhow,
he
it is
fed
kind
the
of a neat place.
5,000
But
here.
you know what? I'm wondering, Drake. Oh, there we are. So this was in the wrong spot.
It's in the out of order, but that's back in Capernaum, back
Yeah.
at 10 o'clock. But there is what remains of Peter's house. Peter was a prominent, successful fisherman, and he had the means. So that's Peter's house.
So
Scooting along.
and it is covered now with structure, and you look down at it now.
Yeah, you walk over the top of plexiglass, but this is on the Sea of Galilee. Now, Jesus did this route. He went from Capernaum area and went over to the east side to Gergesa and to the area between Gadara and Gergesa. So there we are riding across the Sea of Galilee. Don't have visions or thoughts about walking on the Sea of Galilee. Tourists say they have a rush. Well, I want to walk on water too, so they jump overboard, and never happens. You're arrested for that. You're taken for psychological evaluation, and you are deported in less than 72 hours. So when you're in the boat, just stay in the boat. And when you're on Galilee,
Don't rock the boat.
I'm dead serious.
Don't rock the boat.
You're sent home. So go ahead. Go ahead, love.
No, yeah. Next one.
But coming around to the east bank, and that's one of the languages of the words of Gergesa, Kursi. This is where Jesus went straight on the other side. He's on the east side of Galilee now, and he met that man who was nude, cutting himself, screaming at the top of his lungs, running around. He was just psychotic.
Yeah, kind of troubled.
And thousands of demons were living in this man. Somehow he had invited this to happen. And when you invite the devil, he goes, sure.
Let me bring some of my friends.
And they were tormenting. Now, Jesus came...
My frenemies.
Yeah, Jesus came from Capernaum over to Gergesa on the lake. It's when he calmed the storm. So in their night sail across, there was a storm that Jesus calmed. They land on the other side and they meet the demon-possessed man. This is quite a mission trip. This isn't a calm one.
Yeah, for sure.
This isn't a calm one where you think, why did I get parents' permission slips for this? This is a wild mission trip. Mm-hmm. They almost drown. They get to the other side. They meet this guy who's beyond crazy.
Yeah, well, suffice it to say, many of the people who follow Jesus don't have an average life, right?
Yeah, they have a
back in the
very
day
different life. So this is Luke 8. This is Mark 5. And it tells the story of touching this man. He calls out the demons, and the demons say, well, if you're gonna cast us out, send us into these pigs. Mm-hmm. And so they do go into the pigs, and the entire herd rushes down the hill. And the locals find out about this, and they don't want Jesus to stay. They want their pigs back. Are you hearing this?
Yeah.
By the way, we're in Tiberias here.
But on the hills in the distance, that's where you're talking about.
Yeah, right under where the sun is coming up is the event of the pigs and the demons.
And if you had a pair of binoculars, you could have been standing right there.
Yeah, so
and watching all those pigs.
There we are renewing our vows for our 25th anniversary right there.
No, we're not. Drake's like, oh, let's just get a silhouette photo. It'd be beautiful in the morning.
But right under that sun is where this casting of the devils happens, and it is 7:30. But just catch that. Jesus, you took our pigs away. Get out of here. They want their pigs back. They want Jesus to leave. We don't have wind of good things happening in this area. After
Instead of
that.
rejoicing over the man being healed.
But it was so bad while he was demon-possessed, no one even wanted to go through this area. Be a place that Jesus wants to come to. And he comes when you invite him. And once that happens, and I hope these little stories around Galilee tell you the impetus of what happens when Jesus shows up. And what happens when you say, hey, Jesus, you're welcome here. Everything changes. I wanted us to be a land where Jesus is told in America, hey, you're welcome here. The Lord is with you this day. The Lord bless you this day. The Lord keep you. May the Lord show you his bounty, his provision, his best, his grace. May his Spirit fill you this day. You are loved. Amen.